So two of the biggest costs that and catastrophic costs that men face, one is the whole divorce situation, right? So let's say you have a spouse. Most of the people have spouses. Some are single, right? And if you have a girlfriend and who turns out to be a spouse in future, and let's say you end up in a divorce, then a lot of people are concerned. A lot of people actually face this situation, right? And they are sued and they lose 25%, 30%, 40%, 50% sometimes. And this is their hard-earned money. The justification is that your spouse was with you for a few years, let's say 4 or 5 years. She contributed to your success. She took care of your home. Maybe you have children. She played a significant role in that process, and that's why she needs half your money. Now, in certain cases, this makes sense. It's justified. But in a lot of cases, there's also opportunistic women, who want to take the opportunity. Now they're not with you. They want a far better life for their children. Maybe they have children from before. Maybe it's your children, but then you are concerned about your children as well. But they're, for some reason, more concerned than you. They feel they can take better care. And a lot of times I get clients who have been sued for half their monies. And then also what happens is some spouses try to take custody of the children. They don't want that you're a bad person, supposedly. They will try to feed the child this garbage that that father is not good and that's why we left him, and they will believe it. Small children, you can't blame them. They're brainwashed in some cases. On that aside, we're talking about costs over here, and this can really run into a big amount based on your net worth. The second is the affordability factor, right? Even if you hire an attorney, maybe it's not a divorce situation, maybe it's a tax situation, maybe it's a civil matter, maybe it's a criminal matter. Whatever the matter is, attorneys in countries like US, Canada, Australia are extremely unaffordable. Their cost can run $500 an hour. If you start adding up throughout the length of the trial, then you're looking at spending upwards of 25, 50, 60, 75, 100K in certain cases. And that is specifically where you need secondary jurisdiction. Secondary jurisdiction helps you offset some of these costs, right? So you can fight this case in a different location. You have the first mover advantage if you make the right choices, right decisions in the right jurisdiction. You have that unique advantage because you have planted the seed early on, right? Now, this is sometimes viewed as fraud doing it later on. You want to have all of these options beforehand. Let's say you have a passport, you're a citizen of a different country. Because you have access to that jurisdiction, you can actually make the first mover advantage, take the advantage of filing your lawsuit there, and that gives you access to a unique location, right? Maybe the other person is not able to travel, maybe it's making life tougher for them. That automatically means it's making life easier for you. So that's one big advantage, the jurisdictional diversity. The second major advantage is the whole attorney costs. A lot of these places will have cheaper attorneys, especially if you're looking at outside countries, right? So it's more easier to afford the attorneys at the fraction of the cost. Sometimes you find quality people outside, and then if you're dealing with a legal situation, you have a favorable jurisdiction. So it's a win-win situation if you're playing this right, and that is why having an alternate passport, having an alternate citizenship, having an alternate jurisdiction, and even if you have a residency, right? So initially you start off with a residency, which gives you immediate access to that jurisdiction. You don't necessarily need a citizenship, right? That citizenship is the ultimate benefit, ultimate protection. It stays forever. Residency can be taken away. Residency can be lost, right? If you're not spending time in that country. So yes, eventually you want the citizenship, but at least you want to start off with a residency, which then leads to that citizenship. It gives you these unique advantages in both the aspects. One is cheaper access to attorneys, and secondly, the right jurisdiction where you can fight out your battles. Once everything is sorted, you go back to your home country or whichever the plan A or plan B country is for you, and that way you're protected. And if you are interested in identifying the best legal jurisdictions, now I have a ton of places that ton of residencies which lead to citizenships, which I talk about on my channel. It's packed with all the options that you need. Now, some of the options are good and optimized for taxation, let's say low taxes, Some are good for family raising a family. Some are good for cheaper access to cheaper life, right? You're getting some cost benefits. And then there are certain jurisdictions which are very powerful from a legal standpoint, and based on what kind of legal situation you anticipate, and you got to anticipate this ahead of time. You can't do it, as I said, after the fact. It can be viewed as fraud. You're trying to take some deliberate action. You have this ahead of time, then that's the best situation you can be in. Now, if you want to discuss what are the best residencies which then lead to citizenship from a legal standpoint, you can always click the link in the description. We can discuss what your matter is or what you anticipate and get you started with the right residency, which can then eventually lead to that all important citizenship and a lifelong access to that jurisdiction. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, make sure you're subbed, and catch you in the next one.